measure 36. So you either have a ruler or a yardstick. If you have a measuring tape, that works also. So we're going to start with our yardstick, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways, 2 different ways that you can measure your string. We're going to build our wall hanging first, and then when we've got it built, then I will show you how to add in some of the details that have some texture to it and give it some character. So we can tie knots on it, so it kind of gives it a little bit of, like I said, character. Some braids, we can do double braids, and then one of these I kind of mixed the ribbons, and so we're going to build some character, but we're going to do that after we're done building it. So, and I kind of did my pattern a little bit with knowing that we're going to be adding those things in, if that makes sense. So with that, I'm going to start with my middle colors first. So middle colors and build out. And that's going to be my longest length, because as we start building, we're starting with 36, but then we're going to start taking 2 inches off of that length. So it gives us that V. Now, and so you can do that. Now you can see on my small one, I kind of did, you can go crazy. We're going to give them a haircut towards the end to kind of give it that V. So, which is kind of fun. So I have to vacuum when I'm done with this class because I have yarn everywhere. So there'll be different things to do there. So lots of options. So the first way that you can measure is measure from one end to the other. Don't cut it. Now pick it up, and you're going to want to double that. So you should have it doubled. So you have a loop on one end and loose on the other. And then go ahead and cut that. We would like to have 4 of these strings. So if you're measuring it individually, we need 2 more. And then the next time around, I'm going to show you guys how to do it without just looping it through.
So how, we need like 2 of these or 4 of these?
4 of them total.
Okay, so that's 4 of the doubled strings?
Yes, ma'am. And then you're gonna put them all together once you've got them all done. And once everybody's there, then I will show you what to do next. And if they're not even at the bottom, don't worry about it, because remember, I said we're giving it a haircut. So with your loop, and kind of split in half, and you can see mine are not even, and I'm kind of not really worried about that. So I'm gonna take this and so this is my rod, and my string is behind it. I'm going to loop it and kind of grab the string through that loop and do that. This is the tricky part. And I do have other ways if this is too tricky for you, because you could just tie it on. Oh, you got it. And so then it all kind of fills in and it looks perfect. All right. So now we need, my 2 center ones were the same length. I kind of wanted that to be a thicker color. So we're going to do that one more time at 36 inches. Now, here is one way of doing it. If you want to cheat and not have to cut 4 separate strings, it will be a little messy. So totally, if you don't like this way, then you can go and just cut the strings separately. So I'm going to measure my 36. And remember, we doubled it. So I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to, I lost my string. I'm going to start over. So double it, hold that loop, go all the way to the end, and then turn it. And I have my 3rd string. Go to the end. Now I have my 4th string. Remember, we wanted 4 of the 36 or of the 72. So this is only 2 of those long strings. So we need it 2 more times. So now 5. So a total of 8. 6, 7, and 8. And then when you get there, you should have that very first tail end. That's how you know that you've gotten an even amount. And I've cut that. Now, the ones that have the loose ends, this is where I always messed up. Where the loose ends are, the loops that you have, cut those so that you have the opening. And then you have the top loops that you'll kind of loop through together and kind of separate and hold onto your 4 strings. And that's how we get our 4 strings. So you can measure individually or double it up.
Okay, again.
Now I'm going to take that loop and put it over the rod.
Okay.
And then I'm kind of opening up my loop and pulling the string that's behind, and I'm pulling it forward through that knot, through that loop.
Yeah. Oh, I see. It's like this.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, now Disha, we need 4 more of those strings at 72 inches.
72. Okay.
So 36 doubled.
Okay, so now like 4.
And I am going to start making my strings shorter by 2 inches. So instead of doing 36, I now want to go to 34. So I'm going to measure my first 34, and I'm going to do double it. Now you can either cut here and measure 4 more 32 doubled 34s, or you can do the cheating way. And I'm just going to do that. Does that make sense?
Teresa said about we're going to give it a haircut at the end. So towards the end, you know, we'll have an opportunity to shape it so it's kind of the shape that you really want your final product. So, you know, if your measurements are a little off, don't worry about getting too wrapped up about that, because that's going to be kind of like a finishing touch, right, Miss Teresa?
Yes. See how mine are not even? I'm not stressing over it. So, but that really long one, I'm going to go ahead and trim. So that was this one's a 34, and I'm going to do another one at 34. I don't think anybody has a cat that's kind of trying to play with your yarn there.
I have 2 cats.
They must be loving it.
No, they do not care about yarn.
Oh.
I measured some of these yarn bundles at the house, and they literally don't care at all about yarn.
Oh no, I guess that's good.
Yeah, they're much more into lasers and feathers.
Okay.
Yeah. Occasionally embroidery floss when I'm like sewing, but not yarn, which is good.
Well, they would have had a field day today, though.
I know.
They're missing out.
Yeah, I bet they're sleeping. I can see. I have 2 cats and a dog, and
oh wow,
I see, 1 cat and 1 dog sleeping in the dining room. So they don't even care that I'm talking. Very chill animals.
That's good.
Yeah. Do you have any pets, Miss Teresa?
No, just children and a husband. We had fish for a while. So now, once you're done with that and you've got your 4 loops of colors on, pick your next color, and that one we're gonna do at 32 inches. So if you've got that yarn again from the library, measure off either from your finger to your knuckle or your ruler and cut off another 2 inches. And that's 32 inches, and that's what we're gonna keep measuring. So we're gonna keep cutting 2 inches off until we get to 24 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on mine. If you have questions, let me know.
Is it okay if like all of our string is going to be used?
Yes, that's the idea.
Yeah, this is the only activity in the craft bag that requires the string. So it was specifically put in there for this. And so if you use up all your yarn, that means that I did a good job and Miss Teresa did a good job of predicting how much yarn you would need. And if you have too little yarn, I'm sorry. That would be my bad, not Miss Teresa's bad. But I'm sure we can find a way to make it work.
Yes. And that means you just have less string on there. Again, you can put as much string as you want on or as little. It all depends on how full you want it to look.
And I imagine that, you know, whatever we make today, say, and, you know, like a month, you decide you want to change it up a bit, that maybe this would be a project you could go back and, you know,
you can change it. Yeah, because it's easy to, the loops are so easy to take off. So that's what I've got going so far.
That textured yarn.
I know. So yes, so that's something that you can come back and add, like if you want, you could throw ribbons in here, you can get some textured yarn. Like I have this yarn because I do a lot of craft projects. Last winter I made a yarn and tassel pom-pom for my fireplace mantle. So I might throw that in there, I don't know. But, so once you guys have gotten all of this one pattern done and we have more yarn left, then we'll start adding some texture to it. Here,
Yeah.
shows you like the knots that I did, the braid, and then I did knots and a braid. And this one I was doing a bunch of little braids. So that when we're done here, actually any of you can do a screenshot, if that's okay, Miss Morgan. And then you can go back later and see the different things that you can add to your wall hanging.
And I am also,
Check that I have 6 strands. This one I'm going to go ahead and braid on there. And I'm going to do one thick braid. I'm going to do this thick braid on this one.
So you only did three strands this time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So 3 long strands. So if you're going to braid, because you need that even number, does that make sense? Because if we did 8, then we have one section that's 2 and 2 sections that are 3.
Yeah.
I learned that by playing. So now I'm going to go ahead and kind of get this a little closer. I have mine hanging. So you might have to do this a little bit. I tied on, and it should have done that. So I've got a string. It could be whatever, the yarn that's left over after us cutting all the time. So you're just going to tie this on the end of your rod and do it twice. and then take it over and do the same thing to the other side so that you can make that loop that I've got there for hanging.
I've got this leftover red string. I can just use this, right?
Yes, ma'am. You can use whatever color.
Okay.
And I've hung mine so that you all can see it easier, but it's also might help with doing the braid. Or you can lay it, and if you have a cup or a book, put it on top of the rod so that it kind of stays in place. And then I'm just going to braid this one.
36.
And you can braid all the way down. You can braid just a little bit.